Have you ever wondered why the schooling system basically raised men to be breadwinners and women to be housewives? Most people would probably put this down to the patriarchy, but no, you see, it's a lot more complex than that. This is because, unlike popular belief, until the Industrial Revolution, men and women both had to work all the time as well. They had to work so much there was nobody to look after the children, which is why children were typically left to either roam on their own accord or older children looked after them. That was, of course, until they were 7 and they started working themselves. So basically, prior to the Industrial Revolution, there was no stay-at-home mother, there was no housewife, there was just working everybody. But then along came the Industrial Revolution, and with it a massive increase in productivity. In fact, productivity increased so much during the Industrial Revolution that it became possible for the first time in human history for a family to be provided for by one income. Yep, one income. And this obviously gave birth to the sole provider model, which was, of course, what gave birth to the housewife. And the reason why this model was adopted was for the simple reason that for the first time in history, it allowed for a parent to focus on the children. This obviously massively helped solve a big problem that had been around for as long as humanity, and that is the high child mortality rate. In fact, prior to the Industrial Revolution, 56% of children on average never made it to adulthood. 56%. That means over half of children born never made it to adulthood. And a big reason behind that was, of course, the fact that parents had so little time to spend with their children. So inevitably, when a mother got the chance to spend that time to focus on keeping those children alive, of course, many started taking this. Of course they would. Why wouldn't they? And this led to the birth of the professionalized mother, a person who didn't focus on food production, didn't focus on income. She focused solely on one task, keeping the children alive. And of course, this led to a housewife-focused schooling system. You see, at the time, a lot of parenting practices were terrible. They were passed down generation after generation, and scientists and doctors were beginning to realize just how bad these practices were. Some of them were terrible. I mean, dunking babies in ice as a means to clean them, using soil as an antiseptic, just things that were absolutely disastrous for the children. And this obviously led to a schooling system which tried to eliminate these bad practices by trying to teach women how to actually keep the children alive. But what's interesting is, because productivity continued to increase, because technology continued to increase, it eventually became possible to keep children alive without a parent having to supervise them all the time, which inevitably led women to rejoin the workforce. This means that the reason the schooling system was originally designed around teaching men to be a breadwinner and women to be a housewife was for the simple reason that the Industrial Revolution made it possible for the first time in history for us to keep children alive. And the first way we attempted to do this was by having a parent focus on that sole task of keeping children alive.